Hi everyone. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about, I guess you call it the big picture, what we're doing in logic, but then also talk a little bit about what arguments are made out of. When we say that we're working with arguments, what are the components of that? Well, I want to say first of all that logic, we're going to say, is the organized body of knowledge or science that evaluates arguments. And we're going to say that an argument is a group of statements, one or more of which we can also call the premises, are claimed to provide support for reasons to believe one of the others. We'll call that the conclusion. To put it in diagram form, personally, I like diagrams and pictures. We might think of the top here as this is our claimed evidence, these are our premises. We also call these our reasons. And then, of course, these are providing support for or leading to this other thing. We'll call that our conclusion. That's the thing that's claimed to follow from the evidence. Now, what are arguments built out of? Well, we're going to say that an argument is built out of statements. This is really important. So, a statement is a sentence that can be either true or false. So, for example, broccoli is a good source of vitamin A. Argentina is located in North America. Rembrandt was a painter, and Shelley was a poet. Now, when we say that an argument is either true or false, we do have I guess you'd call it a background philosophical question, which is, what does it mean for something to be true or false, or what is truth? That's a really difficult question to answer, and in fact, even if we took all 8 weeks of this course, I'm not sure we could answer it. So I'll give you a simple way of thinking about it. I like to think of when we say that something's true, think of truth like a label, almost like a sticky note. And when we make a claim like broccoli is a good source of vitamin A, we're saying that this is the kind of statement or sentence that we could put the true or false label on it. Okay, so try that. Now, on the other hand, if an argument or a statement is false, we might say no, the false label is more appropriate. Notice also that in number 3 here, Rembrandt was a painter and Shelley was a poet. There we actually have two different statements, right? So for instance, I could put the true label here on Rembrandt was a painter. I could say Shelley was a poet. That's also true. And then you can connect those together with an and. And then actually that makes a brand new statement. We can also evaluate it to see whether it is true or false. We'll talk about that later. Now, very important though, that although in our language we have lots of sentences that can be true or false, those are going to be our statements, we have others where that's not quite the case. For example, these all are not statements. What is the atomic weight of carbon? Let's go to the park today. We suggest that you travel by bus. Turn to the left at the next corner. If you imagine the GPS talking to you. Or exclamations like, all right, boo, yay, and so on. Now, why aren't these statements? I'm going to say that they're not statements because if we try to attach true or false to any of them, it's almost like they don't stick. It's not appropriate. I mean, think about this for a moment. If, let's say, your friends say, let's go to the park today, and you respond by saying, false. I mean, it's kind of silly, but think about it. It's not the right answer for that. So, yeah, all of these then, they're not going to count as statements. So what is the atomic weight of carbon? Well, those are questions. Suggestions, commands, exclamations, yeah, they're all not statements. Now, there's an interesting question here, which is how we might turn them into statements, and we might see some of that on the quiz and the discussion board. More on that later. One more thing to mention here. We're going to say then that all statements have truth values, and that truth and falsity are the only two possible truth values of a statement. So only statements have truth values, and we're just going to say this. And oftentimes what people will say, is that this makes our logic bivalent, meaning we've only got two truth values or two ways that things can be evaluated. Okay, thanks. See you in the next lesson.